So, in continuation of what we said in the earlier video, that is the first Anglo-Mysore War and the effort of the British to expand Indian territory, their territory in India, and the policy designed by Lord Wellesley, the subsidiary alliance. This is what we studied in the previous video. Now, let us try to know what are the causes and results of Second Anglo-Maratha War. Second Anglo-Maratha War was fought in the year 1803 to 1805. What are the causes? As I said in the beginning, the most unfortunate element among the Marathas was the disunity and their internal problem. So naturally, the differences among the Marathas was the main reason for the Second Anglo-Maratha War. And this was nicely exploited by the British. British were, British, they always wait for an opportunity to see that the Indian rulers always fight among themselves. Okay. So this situation was nicely exploited and used by the British. The first point is the differences among the Maratha rulers. Second one is the army of Holkar defeated the army of India. See, both Holkar and Scindia, they belong to same Maratha family. But they fought each other and they destroyed each other also. So this is also another reason when the Holkar is a very important dynasty among the Marathas. And that was all Marathas, Scindia and Holkar and all Maratha family were kept together by Nana Fadnavis. But after the death of Nana Fadnavis, their internal problem increased and they started fighting each other. At this juncture, what happened? Peshwa became desperate. He could not control any of the Maratha family like the way in which Nana Fadnavis had done. So he became desperate and accepted subsidiary alliance. Accepting subsidiary alliance is nothing but surrendering your freedom. Okay, you will become a slave to British. So this is what happened in the Second Anglo-Maratha War. And what are the results? Peshwa accepted the Treaty of Basin. Another development. Peshwa could not fight with the British and he accepted, accepted the Treaty of Basin and Wellesley defeated the Marathas. So this is a very small presentation about the Second Anglo-Maratha War. Of course, if you take in detail, it will go for pages together. But anyway, for the examination sake, this much is enough. Okay, we'll just ask either results or the causes. Now we'll go to what are the causes of Third Anglo-Maratha War, which was fought in the year 1817 to 1818. Third Anglo-Maratha War. See, people who have accepted subsidiary alliance, they will only understand the problems of that particular policy. There is an English proverb, saying, the wearer knows where the shoe pinches. So having accepted the subsidiary alliance, the Marathas felt that it was disgusting. Okay, Marathas are very freedom fighters. They were all very brave soldiers. Okay, so Marathas wanted to free themselves from East India Company. They realized that if they don't become free from East India Company's clutches, they don't have any future. So this was one of the main reasons for the Third Anglo-Maratha War. See, in desperate movement, in desperate mind, Peshwa attacked the British residency. British officer will be there always. When you accept subsidiary alliance, naturally the officer will take control of the entire kingdom. So in desperation, what Peshwa did? Peshwa attacked the British officers, or you can say British office. So this is what the development of the Third Anglo-Mysore War, the Third Anglo-Maratha War, and other Marathas rebelled. When Peshwa attacked the British residency, even other families, Maratha families also, rebelled against the British. These are the causes. These are the initial development of the third Anglo-Maratha war. So now what are the results you see? Marathas defeated. Marathas were defeated, not Marathas defeated. Okay, Marathas were defeated. When that British defeated the Marathas. British abolished Peshwa post. The post of Peshwa was abolished. That means it was cancelled. Bajirao, perhaps the last Peshwa, Bajirao was given pension, and Pratap Simha was made the ruler of Satara. Pratap Simha was a descendant of Shivaji. Okay, he was given the position to rule Satara, a small kingdom in the Maratha Empire. Okay, so now after Anglo-Maratha war, we have to understand the fight of the Sikh also. Sikhs were great fighters. Their location is Punjab. They also rebelled against the British because of the interference of the British in their kingdom. Ranjit Singh was the famous king of Sikhs. You know that Ranjit Singh is a very popular and a very, very well-known figure in the history of Sikh. Okay. So now what are the reasons for the Anglo-Sikh War 1 and 2? It is given in brief. Okay, there were more than 2 Anglo-Sikh wars, and it is summarized like this. British had a friendly pact with Ranjit Singh. Ranjit Singh, as I told you, had maintained very good relationship with British. Okay, he never allowed British to enter in his kingdom. He never allowed them to poke their noses in the administration. So now somehow he balanced the relationship and maintained very good relationship with the Britishers, right? In 1839, death of Ranjit Singh resulted in death of Ranjit Singh. When Ranjit Singh passed away, the pact was broken. The pact of friendship was broken, and Britishers started interfering in all the affairs of the kingdom. That is, okay. The British invaded Punjab. You see, they broke the alliance and they invaded Punjab. Punjab army with Sikh, Hindus and Muslims, they fought together. See, all the elements, all the people inside Punjab, one side it was, major portion was Sikh, Hindus and Muslims. They came together and fought against the British, right? But they could not fight, and they were also defeated. Okay, so here, the Anglo-Sikh War, the last Anglo-Sikh War concluded with the Treaty of Lahore, Lahore Treaty, and Dalhousie annexed Punjab. Dalhousie annexed Punjab. Dalhousie was Governor General, and he took control of the entire Punjab, defeating the Sikhs completely. This is the story of Anglo-Sikh War, which is summarized even in textbook also. Now, there is another important development in the history of India, which is very, very tragic in nature. It is a very unfortunate thing, right? So what is that? Dalhousie and Doctrine of Lapse. Dalhousie is another cunning Governor General. Though he had made many contributions to the development of in the field of administration and all that, he wanted to take away the Indian kingdom by his own policy called Doctrine of Lapse. Dattu makkalige hakkilla. What is this? See, this is a draconian policy of Lord Dalhousie. Doctrine of Lapse means, see, in India, the Indian kings had a system. That is, whenever the Indian king had no male heir, they would go for adoption from the nearest family member. And they would take a boy from his own relatives, nearest relative, and he would be made the next successor or the king of the particular empire. For those rulers who did not have male heir. ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಗಂಡು ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಇರಲ್ವೋ ಅಂತಹ ರಾಜರು ನಮ್ಮ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಪದ್ಧತಿಯನ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ರು. ಅವರು ಹತ್ತಿರದ ಸಂಬಂಧಿಯಿಂದ, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ರಾಜ ಕುಟುಂಬದ ತುಂಬಾ ಹತ್ತಿರ ಇರೋರು, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ತಮ್ಮನ ಮಗನೋ ತಂಗಿಯ ಮಗನೋ ಈ ತರದವ್ರನ್ನ ಗಂಡು ಮಗುವನ್ನ ದತ್ತು ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋದು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರು ಸ್ವೀಕಾರ ಮಾಡಿ ಅವನಿಗೆ ಪಟ್ಟವನ್ನ ಕಟ್ಟಿ ಅವನನ್ನ ದತ್ತು ಮಗ ಅಂತ ತಗೊಂಡು ಅವನಿಗೆ ಮುಂದೆ ಸಾಮ್ರಾಜ್ಯವನ್ನ ವಹಿಸ್ಕೊಡೋರು. This was the policy. Even now also this system is continued. But you know what Dalhousie said? Such kingdoms who have adopted sons as the rulers, they will not be recognized. Such kingdoms will be taken away, and such kingdoms were taken actually to the British Empire, under which Satara, Nagpur, Sambhalpur, Udaipur, Jhansi were annexed. You should be knowing that even this policy even came to Karnataka in Rani Chennamma's fight against the British, that you will see in the next class, in the next lesson also. So such kingdoms were taken away by British, and these kingdoms, just now I read the names of the kingdoms were taken away by Dalhousie, okay, under the guise of doctrine of lapse, right? These were the kingdoms. Ultimately, most of the Indian kingdoms, either they came under the clutches of the British, or they became feudal. I mean, they became slaves under British, or they surrendered their freedom and they remained as unimportant kings in most of the parts of India. So with this, we have come to the end of this chapter, that is the extension of British Empire in India. Thank you, children.